This is the most effective opening trap for Blitz, especially if you're below 1200. We're heading to the Leech's database so that we can see how effective the trap really is. I'm gonna click on the top most played move so that we can see that we're always following the most played line. So here, originally, instead of playing the Italian game or anything else, we're heading to the Scotch game. But after that, instead of taking this pawn, all of a sudden your knight jumps forward to g5. Aiming to put pressure to this pawn on f7. And if your opponent does nothing special, you can also add your bishop to this pressure and it's going to become unpleasant. Therefore, as we can see, in the vast majority of the cases, they're going to play the move pawn h6, trying to get rid of this annoying knight. And right here, you can play knight takes f7, sacrificing your knight, and that is the beginning of this trap. Now, quick disclaimer, your opponent can avoid the trap easily by resigning immediately. Bonk. Otherwise, the game continues, and after he accepts the trap, then we play bishop to c4, checking the king. Now, the most played move, as you can see right here, by far is king to e8. And the beauty of this trap is just 6 moves in the game, now you've got a forced checkmate. So that's how effective it really is. Queen h5 is a checkmate within several moves. After king goes forward, you then continue with queen to f7 check, and after chasing the king with either the bishop or a pawn, then after a little while, Abba would be really proud of your dancing queen. And I know what some of you might be thinking about. Igor, you're a grandmaster, why are you talking about this shady stuff? Well, while the trap is objectively unsound, it is a lot better than it seems at first. And initially I also thought that it's just enough for black to avoid this main trap and that is it. However, in reality, they are still on a highway to Blunderville, and playing this position as black is very difficult. For example, king to e8, yes, that is a losing blunder. So something like king to e7 is better. But in this case, you just shift the gear and you don't try to checkmate the king right away. You just play for this long-term attack. And I recommend the move pawn to c3 because you wish for your opponent to take right here, which enables you to bring your knight into play and threaten all these kinds of checks. And although, again, black is up material, but the centralized king is really ugly, you've got long-term attack against it. For example, right now they can go knight f6 to try to develop and cover the square, so you jump with your knight to d5, checking the king, and if black captures, voila, that's a losing blunder. But if your opponent missed latest brain updates, it's really hard to figure it out because the move knight takes d5 looks like just the most natural move to play, and yet it is a losing blunder. Now after queen takes d5, you threaten queen to f7, and the only move for black to cover that would be to play queen to e8 to control the square that way, but then you have a pretty cool move bishop g5, sacrificing the bishop, playing in the Morphy style where you just prioritize quick development and attack. You attack with your every move, then you castle queenside. Pretty fancy. This is also delivers a check. And after knight to d4, the only move to cover, then you finish the game within a couple moves. Once again, let's look at the stats so that we follow most played moves. So here after bishop c4, as we can see, the most played move is that blunder king to e8, which loses by force. King e7 is the second most played move, so let's talk about that. Here we play pawn c3, and again, although theoretically Stockfish tells you that black is better here, if I turn on Stockfish it tells you that it's like almost -2, Stockfish very insightfully tells you that you sacrificed a knight, well 3 pawns for 1 pawn, so you're -2. But it doesn't matter too much, because your opponent has this long-term problem, this exposed king, and it's certainly not at all easy for black to hold on to their position. Anyways, let's turn this off and let's continue. Now, the most played move by black is knight to f6, because if they take it, I actually quite like it. You bring your knight into play, indeed you threaten this check, life's pretty good. So the most played move is knight f6. And now, once again, we play the move pawn to e5. By the way, look at all these stats at the top, and you can see that it favors white quite relatively heavily. All right, so let's go into pawn e5. We're attacking the knight. If it goes somewhere back, then it's just great for us. We pushed it back, and then you can regain this pawn and again keep playing for this long-term attack. But of course, mainly they will capture. But now we play queen e2, taking advantage of this pin on the knight, and therefore we're going to get it back. And if we can do so, that's cool. We're going to continue our attack with no material deficit. Now, once again, let me address the elephant in the room, the Stockfish. So Stockfish tells you that the correct move here for black is pawn d5. I turn on Stockfish, tells you pawn d5 is right, with some advantage for black. But if we look at the stats, the pawn d5 is only played by 12% of players, with the average rating of about 1800. It doesn't fit the screen, but you can see it a little bit. It's about 1800, so quite advanced folks, all right? But most folks would, of course, play pawn d6 or king d6, which is totally suicidal, just putting the king in the middle of the board, or pawn d6, guarding the knight this way, which allows you to simply capture it, and then, after that, the knight has no way out, and you simply get the knight back with a great position. If they go bishop g4, no problem. You can play f3 indeed, or queen f3 is even a little bit trickier. and then you aim to get the knight back. And then what can happen after that, let's say they go back trying to cover, you take this knight, if they recapture, you take. If they take here, you take this knight with a double check, and if the king takes, then after queen to f4, queen to d4, that's another double attack, and you end up with an extra piece, and their king is still exposed. Let me address another refutation. If you turn on Stockfish right after the move knight to g5, you can see that it suggests for black to play bishop to e7, because that is indeed a better option. Black is still trying to get rid of this knight, but they're also developing a bishop. And first off, if I take it back, it's only played by 15% of players, not that much, and after that, you indeed have a choice. You can try to protect the knight, you can go back and chicken out, or if you wish to keep playing in that risky style, and you probably are going to do that, it's knight takes f7. Now, the king takes, again, Stockfish is wild, says that it's all so bad, but let's take it off because it's too critical. If you can look at the stats and see it favors white, still, even after that supposed refutation. Now, black goes king e8, we go queen h5 check, the king cannot move. If black king moves, then we play queen f7, checkmate, with the support of our bishop, so g6 is forced, and now you slide over to d5, threatening queen to f7 checkmate on the next move. Now, let's talk about this position. What can black do to stop this move queen f7 on the next turn? Now, there are a couple options. We see that they play knight e5, which is, like, obviously is not very helpful, because if they move the knight right here, you can just capture it, and then you continue your attack with no material deficit. That's pretty cool. So if they go here, again, you capture it. After that, you also attack the rook, you also attack this pawn, you're probably going to pick up the pawn, and then you'll continue your attack even with material advantage. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's take this back. Knight f6 is just a blunder. Queen f7 mate. All right, that's not helpful. Knight h6, the next played move, is also not helpful at all because you just capture it. And now not only the queen f7 threat is alive, but also bishop g7 to capture the rook. So let's take that back. Finally, the move d6 actually misses the checkmate in two moves in a pretty fancy style with a bishop checkmate. And finally, we went to the refutation, the move bishop b4, which is the one suggested by computer, but again, you can see that it was played by 13% of players with the average rating of 1600. Again, quite advanced, folks. That's why I'm saying that if you're below 1500, probably, the gambit can still work. If you're below like 1200, I would say probably it's quite safe to use it. And here, bishop b4, again, Stockfish says that black is just winning after that, but in reality, white still wins more games than black, even after that supposed refutation. Now let's talk about another advanced move from your potential opponents, the move king to g6. Again, the move, of course, suggested by computer, because for humans, that seems pretty scary to just move the king forward. Anyways, in this position, king g6 is actually the highest win rate move for black, which brought them 55% win rate, and the average rating of folks who are playing this is close to 1600. Anyway, let's explore that. After king to g6, again, if they avoided your immediate traps, then you shift gear to long-term attack. You're not trying to chase the king and checkmate it straight away. It just does not work. So instead, what you do here is you simply castle. The king remains to be exposed, and therefore you can keep attacking it. The next most played move is knight to f6, and after that, instead of all these moves, I recommend the move queen to d3, less known but very effective and aggressive. And by the way, of course, I cannot analyze every potential response of black. Chess game is endless. If you wish to learn how to find proper attacking moves for yourself, then check out my free masterclass. I'll drop a link below where I go you step by step the right thinking algorithm, so you can do that on your own. You can check this later on. Now, for now, you can see that the idea of queen d3 is to put the queen in an ambush so that you threaten pawn e5, which will open up this discover check to the king, plus you would also hit the knight. So that's your idea. And if black tries to block that by going knight e5 themselves, which is what they do, that is yet another blunder, because after queen g3, this time you come with another double attack, and now black is about to lose this knight, and then once that happens, you continue your attack with material advantage. Let's say they go pawn d6, and you just grab this pawn on d4. Now, actually, you're up a pawn, and you continue your attack. Another move you're going to encounter once in a while is when your opponent will simply develop their knight without trying to challenge your advanced knight on g5. In that case, it's not a very challenging move because your knight is now free and you can play bishop c4 and team up against that pawn on f7. Therefore, your opponent will play pawn d5, you're capturing. Once again, we're following most played line. And here after knight takes d5 and white castles, it's hard to believe that white is already winning. You have too many threats for black to handle. You're ready to play rook e1, checking the king. Queen to f3 is also a very strong threat that will threaten both these pawn f7 as well as the knight on d5. Your bishop is also very strong down this diagonal, plus your knight is still keep bringing pressure, and you can see how hard for black is to cope with all these ideas. For example, if they play bishop e7, desperately trying to castle, then you turn up heat by sacrificing your knight on f7. Sort of delayed, fried liver attack, something like that. There goes queen to f3 with a double attack. Now, black king just moves back, then you simply grab this knight on d5, and after that you continue your attack successfully. If instead your opponent tries to hold on to their extra piece and boldly plays king to e6, it's actually not that simple to continue your attack. However, you've got a super cool move, knight to c3, sacrificing the second knight that you have. And Morphy would be proud of you, or maybe would be angry, because it's actually his idea, it is his old game. Now, black has to take it like this, the knight cannot move because it's pinned, therefore they have to take it, but now you opened up one more file to attack his king. Now you go rook e1 with a check, that has to cover, now bishop f4, and that is a pretty cool thing, pretty cool situation if you look at this. This is pin number 1, this is pin number 2, and this is literally the pinnacle of your attack. Now, he's got to defend this knight on e5, otherwise you're going to capture it. And if black does that by going bishop f6, that doesn't really help, because after the trade, you sacrifice the rook, and then you bring the other one into play, and this is not just a checkmate, this is a check execution. Let me also address a move that you guys asked me about, the move pawn to f6. As we can see, it's not a very popular choice of black, only about 10% of players roughly play this, but nevertheless, let's look into this. So first off, do not go knight to f7. We can see this is relatively popular. Actually, over 100,000 people played that. But of course, probably that was a pre-move. Do not pre-move knight to f7. In this case, it would be quite ridiculous. There is no pawn there. Now, in this case, yeah, you have to go back knight to f3. And even though you don't have that idea to sacrifice your knight anymore, but it actually is hardly a refutation of your idea. Because yes, you didn't do anything useful during this time, but so is your opponent, because the move pawn f6 doesn't help black to develop, and it actually only harms their position, because now their knight cannot be developed to a normal square, plus it weakens this diagonal, so that after in the future, once you put your bishop right there, they will not be able to castle. Therefore, again, it is hardly a refutation. Now, from here, the knight is now ready to just go back on the right track and to pick up the central pawn. And if black goes bishop c5 to stop that, you have a choice. You have a normal move bishop c4, again trying to control this diagonal so that your opponent cannot castle, and after that you just play c3 like this so that you can develop your knight, you castle, you go bishop c4, you play normal chess with long-term compensation for just a little pawn that you sacrificed. Or if you want to be tricky to the end, you've got the move knight to h4, which again has pretty good success rate, 60% win rate. So what's the catch here? If they play the natural move knight to e7, and they do, then you've got queen h5, which comes with a double attack, and you all of a sudden win this bishop on c5. Pretty cool. Now, if instead they play the second most played move, pawn to d6, or pawn g5 is also crazy, pawn d6, then they do protect this knight, but still this bishop, but queen h5 is still pretty annoying because that checks the king, forces it to move, or else if they go pawn g6, then you can play knight takes g6, quite a standard tactical idea, destroying their king side, attacking the rook, and now if they capture it, then you can grab this rook in the corner and you keep attacking. If we turn on Stockfish, it shows like plus 1.3 or something for white. So now you win material, you attack, you destroy their king side, again life's good, bishop c4 is coming potentially or something like that. With that being said, I agree that this gambit is unsound, and if you're playing against an advanced opponent, then of course it's probably better not to. And in that case, you can switch over to bishop c4, which is a normal and classical Scotch Gambit. It's a very sound, great opening, which I highly recommend that you play. And if you learn these both ideas, both the classical Scotch Gambit and the knight g5, knight takes idea, then you can alter between them and decide which move is suitable depending on who your opponent is. So if you want to learn the classical Scotch Gambit with bishop to c4, check out that video where I analyze it, and then you'll have a rock solid and really powerful opening repertoire.